All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Yet another public preview of my Power Hour service. What's up, Mike? Going public today with all the market action. And yeah, seemed like a good idea. I was actually up last night for this drop. And man, you thought we were bouncing up here. Look at all these bounces. Really, really amazing action here. So it looks like we are potentially beginning this kind of parabolic move lower. We'll see what happens. Historically, we mentioned, may have started here on the 13th on the big break, and yeah, if we end up following historical action, then we end up down here by Monday. And so far, it looks like we are headed in that direction. Pretty much everything is down a good amount. Tron's positive for some reason. But Link's down 9-10%, Apes down 10%, Matic's down 10%. I think at this point in time, if anyone's looking to get into shorts, you want to try to find a good vehicle that's going to have good percentage performance. If we do end up finally capitulating, then we are going to, everything's going to have some pretty impressive percentages. So I don't think you want to be jumping around too much. We talk about this usually more in bull markets than in some big bear markets, but in these, potentially really big bear market times, it doesn't necessarily matter what vehicle that you use to go lower, but it does matter. It does matter that you're in the markets if you're interested in shorting. What's up, guys? More pain. Well, this is my Power Hour service. I'm just going public with it, during these times and to kind of help some people out. Hey, what's up, Aram? English to me. Good morning. T. Pepe. I'm not even sure how to pronounce the first part of that. Way too American for that. But yeah, so went live with the show today. Everyone give a like and a thumbs up and a subscribe and I don't know, whatever else what buttons does YouTube have? They keep adding buttons. More and more buttons. But yeah, so this is public version of the Power Hour. We do this every day at this time. And yeah, we discuss the markets and such. I know you don't like Litecoin, but the ratio is going up against BTC and ETH. Might be time to swap. Well, yeah, go for it. Go for it. The markets are finicky. They generally, I don't know. They like what they like, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And I'm not saying Bitcoin doesn't make any sense. I'm simply saying I think I saw the same chart that you saw with all three lines on the chart, and Litecoin was going up the most. I don't know exactly. I think that was wallet addresses, if I'm not mistaken. But I go by price action. That's what I do. Because in reality, I'm not buying wallet sizes. I'm buying the price. And so, therefore, I buy the price. But price right now is definitely headed lower. We broke last night. I went live for a little bit. I was pretty darn tired. I actually woke up, did the newsletter. Now I'm doing this. Still kind of tired, but we're going to roll with it. Guys, these are the times to be diligent in the markets, not the time to be lazy in the markets. There's plenty of time to be lazy in the markets, but there's some instances where if you have positions or are interested in positions, you have to pay a lot more attention. That is this weekend. I think it's definitely a good time to pay attention. So I did catch the drop. Volume didn't come in super heavy. At the same time, we still haven't really bounced that much. And the capitulation scenario that we found yesterday during the Power Hour so far working out. Capitulation, comes in kind of bursts on the way down. And we just had the first burst midnight my time, which is 3 a.m. U.S. time. So it means that they're dumping on U.S. traders on the overnight U.S. time. Don't like those situations for multiple reasons. Number one, because I like to sleep. But I've generally found, maybe this is just my bias because I like to sleep, is I don't like when that happens because it seems like it's more bearish. Probably just because I like to sleep. But anyway, it is what it is. You didn't think 20K would break? Well, that's, it's hard to have opinions in this market, to be honest with you. For us, the level was 30K, Mexican Charlie. It wasn't 20K. To be honest with you, I'm saying this, I'm not trying to sound smart, but 20K wasn't, it's not that important To be quite honest with you, it's really not that important. It was much more important on the way up, and it was very clear it was going to break on the way up, just because, I mean, the market based for so long at 14K over here. But on the way down, it's not kind of the same situation, actually. Now that I'm saying it out loud, talking about it, if you look at it, we went sideways here for a while, and then boom. So anytime you're looking at a large base like this, I don't even know who the hell Greg Maninario is. I heard that name yesterday too, and I'm like, who gives a shit? Who cares? But the reason that 20K broke here, one of the reasons, is that we had this big long consolidation for an extended period of time. Anytime you get a big base like this, bases are the springboards for price action. Okay, so when you get a base, it gives sellers an opportunity to sell, and obviously, oh, hold on a second. Someone needs a link to the show. My website's down, which is kind of garbage, because I'm doing a public version of my show, and my stupid website's down. See, it's still down. Still down. You know, I gave him a pass the first, couple of days, but now it seems to be down. It's done like the past two days in a row, so I'm going to get a hold of them after the show. Like, why the hell's my website down for 20% of the time? Seems like a pretty high downage rate. Anyway, hey, what up, Garden? ADA, that's a good question. ADA has some really good signatures on it right now. What up, Monkeytron? Yeah, we're live again, bud. So these bases, these provide the springboards. These provide, I mean, maybe I did get hacked. I don't know. I'm going to call SiteGround, though. It's on SiteGround. These springboards, though, they give us the ability to bounce above these key levels. And, that's what gave us the ability to bounce up above it here. So when I say 20K is not important, it's not that it's a valid level, but what was more important here was 14K. We were much more bullish at 12 and 14K than we were at 20K. 20K was obvious once you broke 12 and 14K, because if you look at this in context, look at this chart. I mean, you've come up so far, you've based for so long. I mean, it just makes sense that you do get a big move through 20K looking in that context. And then as we've been discussing for a year now, well, maybe not a year, but a long time now, this 30K, ever since this low here, like 29.5, 28, whatever you want to call it, that was the level to hold. 20K wasn't. 20K wasn't, not really a factor. Oh, it's up for you? Really? Maybe my browser got hacked. Let me check, let me go private window, cookies and all that. Oh, it's up. That's so, okay. I gotta clear cookies then. All right. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, actually, very much. I'm good with technology, but I'm not like deep server admin type of good with technology. So anyway, there's my website, and you're in the power hour right now. So anyway, 20K, not that important. It wasn't we really hawked 30K a lot more than 20K. 20K less important than 30K. 30K vital, and it broke. That's the story. That's it. Sometimes it's that easy. It's not always that easy. In this case, it was that easy. It's kind of interesting. It's a little bit like 6K over here. I did give a lot of credence to 6K on the way up after the break at 4,200, but it ended up being a non-factor. And I'll be honest with you, we were bullish. I mean, pretty much everybody was in long positions, but we were scrambling a little bit like, okay, what's the dynamic here? We're not finding any resistance. We're going straight through. So to me, this was more of a surprise, technically. I mean, not in terms of big signals, this was the biggest surprise out of crypto for me. This second top was not a massive surprise. Like 20% of the surprise that one was down there. This was a surprise to a lot of people, me included, that capitulation. But anyway, now 20K, it's not extraordinarily important. It just isn't. So, I mean, we're going to stop at levels every day. If you look at an intraday chart, every day we stop at a level. And we did stop at 20K, which makes a lot of sense. And if you look at that daily chart again, we stopped at 20K again for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the end all of resistive levels. It was good that we were up here. And so you want to be up here, and it moves along quickly, and that makes a lot of sense. Kind of in the same situation, if you watch that video I posted yesterday, it makes a lot of sense that we're cutting down through this in a more quick fashion as well, if we're coming into actual capitulation, which according to a lot of charts, and we tried to debunk this yesterday, we just couldn't debunk it. You know, I haven't checked the comments on that video. Let me do that real quick, because, you know, sometimes people have alternative viewpoints, and it did good overnight. But I don't really see any. I don't see any like alternative viewpoints. It's just some nice comments from people and general comments. So yeah, I don't see anything contradicting. If anyone can contradict me on this capitulation scenario, it'd be great to discuss during a live stream like this, especially during the power hour, because that's really what it's for. Exactly, Pepe. 2020 was with the Fed decision. You're 100% correct on that. But technical analysis wise, you couldn't really TA it. It just kind of happened, and you had to react to it. Now, we were actually out before that dump for different reasons. But you know, sometimes you get lucky, and that was kind of one of those situations. Okay, so let's get back to current market action here, and we will you know, go through the charts. But obviously, Bitcoin moving lower. There's not a lot to do here, market structure wise, other than just go with it. And when you're talking about this type of a situation in the markets, see my index charts at the top now, so I'm not going back to my Binance charts anymore. But clear slice through that line, the 20K line. Usually in these situations, what ends up happening is you don't go past this high. If we're as bearish as it appears that we are, we're not going past this high. So if you're thinking about shorting Bitcoin, that's a good stop loss. So if we go past that, something else is going to happen. That's only about 3%. And then if you want to give it to 20K, you're about 5 to 6%. You know, for a potential much larger drop. And you got this move down here to 13A. We have lots of levels to go down to on the Binance chart. We've done a lot of analysis on these charts. Obviously, it's pretty much what we do. Bitcoin breaking my very long-term trend line here. That's a Pi method exit right there. And that, look at that, Monkeytron. Go Pi method. Doesn't the Pi method never breaks, does it? The Pi method never ever breaks. I'm telling you, it works. But right now it's just a cascade. You know what I mean? It's just a cascade. So we're lower. We should be holding these prior highs if anyone is interested in positions in terms of shorts and stuff like that. If you have long-term positions, you have to consider 10K as a possibility, like I mentioned the other day. So just if you're fine with that, you're fine with that. I'm fine with that. If you're not fine with that, consider an exit and what that feels like for you and what that looks like for re-entry, potentially, down in, sub 13K range. But really not much to talk about Bitcoin itself. It's for what it's doing, it did what we asked it to do yesterday. It broke the low, and in a fairly definitive fashion. The volume here, look at the volume, at least on the Binance chart. It's a little different on that index chart, but look at the Binance chart. We go from very elevated volume levels to very low volume levels, very low volatility candles. We have a new tool in the power hour called the breadth indicator. Let's run this on the 2-hour, Monkeytron. I want to see what this looks like. We don't do this on the 2-hour too much, but when you get, and I guess still got to work on that. Monkeytron, how do we get this to default on the price chart? Is that something we can do? Because I think that would be really advantageous. Bitcoin got to previous all-time high because of Luna Celsius. Yeah, it doesn't matter the reasons, Farhan. It just matters the price action. The reasons are inconsequential. The fact that you know them just FUDs our own brains is really what it does. So, where's oh, existing pane above. Sorry, I'm trying to get this. Trying to get. That's not a bad view. I can stick with this view, I guess. So here you go. Really, really low volume. So what this price breadth tool does, I'll move it up again. What this price breadth tool does is it actually analyzes, the breadth of the candles comparatively. It is on, I think, yeah, what, 20 days? I think it's 20 days, right, Monkeytron? And it looks for the lowest 1% of price breadth, taking volume into consideration. Forget the RSI thing. It has nothing to do with RSI in this particular thing. Oh, and if we can make the price breadth stick to the the price window, and not in the secondary indicators. Overlay true. Oh, okay. That's cool. I could do that real quick. Where is that? Just where would that be? Just under indicator? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to update that. I don't know. I kind of like it there. I think we need two versions of them. We need your version where it kind of looks like the MACD a little bit, and we need this. I like both versions. I think they're both valuable in their own right. I really do. So, anyway, if you look at this basing structure and what this price breadth tool does is you see after we've already tested the low a number of times here. We did talk the other day about an inverted head and shoulders. That obviously never worked out. There's a V5 now. Oh gosh, always changing. But once you get towards the tail end of these structures, we've I don't want to say relied on these price breadths, and not even necessarily this indicator, but I've always found that once you get to really low volatility, so you go from high volatility into low volatility, the market can't stand low volatility. It's kind of like when you're talking with someone and you both stop talking. There's that pressure to start talking again. Here, I'll do it real quick. Like there's that void, that vacuum that kind of needs to be filled. And that's what happens when you get low volatility. We don't stay there too long. We don't stay there long at all. So we were pretty low volatility yesterday during the 9 o'clock hour. So 24 hours ago was right here, right before both of these really low volatility candles. And we can stay low volatility for a bit, but eventually it breaks. And that's what you see here. These other ones aren't really that important. And I'm not sure that we can programmatically get rid of them. But these are not as important by a long shot, because if you look, this is after the breakdown. So being, a lower volatility candle, which I'm not even sure how those qualify as low volatility candles, on the way down doesn't help you any. It's only in these certain circumstances that low volatility can help you in terms of timing when a move is incoming. So, we had a chart pattern here that didn't work out, and then we went into really low volatility right against the low, and you get a break lower. That's pretty textbook, actually. So good action. Actually, it shows 3. So the 9 o'clock. The way that this works, here is that, and if you can, it may be hard to see, but it's purple. There's a purple on this 9 o'clock candle right there. It's just really light. So these overlay, and I think there's 5 different time frames. So if they're really dark like this, then they're the largest for, I think, up to 20 minutes or 40 lines, 10, 20, 30, 40. So it takes the biggest out of 10, 20, 30, 40 and overlays them, which is why you get the stripey effect. Anyway, that's the breadth tool, and that low breadth is really good indicator for stuff like this. So you can see here again, kind of rinse, repeat the same action, but on a bit of a smaller scale. High volume on the way down. We're already declining volume, and we're not getting off the floor quite yet. So if this high holds, then just look out below. It's done. I mean, this could be the capitulation run. If it's not the capitulation run, Well, let's talk about that actually. Let's timestamp this, not capitulation, because we spent a good amount of time after the show yesterday. Well, it wasn't really after the show, but we spent a lot of time yesterday towards the tail end of the show, and we ran long by like 50 minutes on capitulation. But let me explain why it is maybe capitulation. Let's talk about maybe it's not capitulation and what that could look like. So I think that could be interesting. Bitcoin bottom 12 to 14K and ETH bottom 300 to 500 in this 2022. Is it surprising there was no 20K bounce or expected? I'm not going to say surprising. I'm not going to say expected. I'm going to say what I said a little bit earlier, Loopy. I think you just joined recently. 20K not as important as 30K. 30K was more important. Look at this, all this price action. You do have a big capitulation here that holds us up for a whole year, and then we break it. And then 20K is your next large, very well-known area. So it's gonna be a target. There's gonna be plans around there, but it's not nearly as important as 30K. Now I could be proven wrong if it bounces back up here and spends a day or two down here, but the way the price action is shaping up, and if you saw that video I posted on the capitulation where I explain all of this, and then if you want to go even deeper than that, if you're a Power Hour member, we do have yesterday's video with the timestamp, and there's some stuff I left out of the video just for brevity's sake. And just because I do it on the fly that, isn't in there. But I think I missed something in that video, actually, in terms of the percentage lower or something like that. And I'm actually going to talk about that right now. So when you look at, is this capitulation or not? Well, when it is capitulation, is that video from yesterday. We're looking at the inverted price chart, looking a lot like 2017. Oh, by the way, as I said in the video yesterday, everybody, this was Mike led us to this, if didn't hand it to us. So, we kind of got the levels and stuff like that. I do the analysis because I'm the guy with the mouse and the screen, but, Mike essentially came to this conclusion about these bases getting smaller like this and it looking a lot like 2017. And and we went over that and it just freaking fit like a glove, which is really rare in the market. So anyway, one of the ways that this could be capitulation is because a capitulation has a specific signature. And if we're to get to the low levels that Bitcoin traditionally gets to, with the 85% down, about 10,000, you have to capitulate from around here. Okay? You have to, because the 48% has to start from a certain point. Otherwise, Bitcoin's going to go below that 85K floor that it's had its entire life, which may be possible, and maybe capitulation happens lower, but for it to not go past that 85% from the high, you have to start it. Does that make sense? Like, you can't start capitulation, hold these norms from 15K. Let me go back and uninvert it. If you're gonna start capitulating from 15K, you're looking at a 48% drop from 15K, which is 7,000. You see what I'm saying? And so if we're going to capitulate and get to historically normal low levels, which is about 85%, that's about the lowest Bitcoin's ever got. It's between 81 and 85. It's been fairly consistent. If we're going to get there, we have to start from somewhere, and that somewhere is about this range. Maybe it starts from here. That's what it was yesterday. It actually does start from 20K if you get to 10K. So this is a little bit of fitting the chart to your narrative. Something I really don't like to do. Really, I really don't like to do that. But I think in some situations, it's worth exploring that, because if 85% is the max, if this is your narrative, and then if we go and in a moment we'll go back to 2017. You're looking at 50% from 20K is 10K, and that would fit a capitulation narrative from here. So maybe Mike, maybe it's 7 days from here. Maybe an alternative would be 7 days from here, which would obviously put us next Saturday, June 25th. Yeah, That would put us at next Saturday. If that's the case, the break of 20K starts to move down. So when we go back to 2017 and we talk about the parabolic run, whoops, that's not, yes. It's hard doing this on a daily chart. So these are those three bases you saw in the video yesterday. And you're what's called a blow off top. That is the term for this action where you go from 10K to 20K. A blow off top, if I remember, is like 75 to 150% in a really short period of time. And so that's your 10K to 20K run right here. Okay, so this 10K was kind of the last basing structure. I mean, you could argue this was a basing structure, but this is not a blow off top. And so I'm excluding that because I have the screen and the mouse. You don't have a blow off top with 12%. It doesn't work like that. You have a blow off top from 10K to 20K in a short period of time. And it does include a small consolidation, but it is what it is. I recorded two versions of that video yesterday, and one of them I talked about both of these in 2017 being distribution candles. These were exit candles for Bitcoin. We just happened to exceed them on lower volume. And we've touched on this in mass over the past several years. You know, about the low volume rise here out of this base and the top being really low volume, no buyers left, and then blah, blah, blah. If this 20K is the old 20K, could retest 3K. 3K seems really low to me, Farhan. And I mean, it really has to do with that 85% downtrend. So let's go. Let's go test that. And I never did talk about not capitulation. We still end up talking about capitulation, so I'll timestamp it as capitulation. But if you look at all these drops though, Farhan, it's for me, it's really hard to see. Did I delete all those? Got all those. It's really hard to see down to those levels because if you look at price drops, so early we get to 93%, and that's early, so that makes a lot more sense. This one's 80%. We tend to not fall as much. Now we are in kind of a calamitous macroeconomic situation, so maybe we could go a little bit lower. 87% right there. 84%. And those are our big ones. This obviously isn't the same. So, you know, I have it at 85%, which if you take most of these into consideration, that's probably about the average. Let's go ahead and do it real quick. So, I mean, 85 is a pretty solid number. We can model a 93, but so 84 plus, let's just call it 87 because it's so close, plus 80 plus 94 divided by 4. 86.25. So I'm pretty close at that. I'm not sure. I mean, we can go down to, so there's 85. We can go down to 93. That's going to put us some pretty darn low levels. That gets down there, doesn't it? Jeesh. That's some scary-ish right there. So 93% would get us down towards those levels. I mean, a triple, kind of a triple bottom down here in the 3-4K level. You know what? Funny, that kind of lines up. But it would have to stop sooner than that. It would have to stop at about 6K. It would have to stop at about 6K. So, yeah, it is what it is. Let me get rid of some of those. All right, missed a few comments. Let me check these out. Is the break-even price 24K for miners? I don't know, and I don't really care, to be quite honest with you. I don't care about break-even price for miners. It's not my business. My business is in the charts. Can we call the top with after low volume exhaustion after the blow-off top? Yeah, it's not an exhaust. There's two terms for exhaustion. I understand your point, Ken, and I agree with you. But there's another term called an exhaustion gap. Yeah, actually, maybe that does qualify. There's no gaps in crypto necessarily, but an exhaustion gap would imply what you're implying. So yes, you know what? Yeah, that's a great term. We'll call it exhaustion. I agree with you, Ken. Yeah, 3K would be trouble for miners. That's really, when you say trouble for miners, I think that's pretty interesting. because obviously Bitcoin miners run the markets. You know something funny, in 2018, 2019 was the last time I heard anyone even give a crap about miners, and they survived it pretty well. So I would say in one regard, they probably have to be well capitalized in order to mine Bitcoin. Number one, because I mean, all that equipment can cost just umpteen millions and millions of dollars. So they're probably going to have a little bit more oomph behind them to try to keep those businesses afloat. I mean, if if you're mining Bitcoin, what are you going to do with that equipment? You have to keep that business afloat. So they're going to stay on it as long as they can, even if they're running a little bit into the negative. Rom saying the cost is around 24K. Oh yeah, you mentioned up here. Sorry, Rom, I missed your chat there, and in the midst of all the stuff happening today. What else we got, Rom? Like the video. Yep, like the video. Yeah, please like the video, guys. If you like it here, subscribe, comment on the video, share it with your friends. All that stuff. This is a public preview of my Power Hour service, by the way. I should do the obligatory, pitch here for my services. This is the Power Hour. Every day we talk about the markets in this fashion, go through the charts, and really anything you guys want to talk about. You can sign up at real-crypto.com services right there. And we do this 7 days a week, ladies and gentlemen. You get a daily newsletter with charts and annotations, a live stream, timestamps on each show. And if you see this video later, you'll see the timestamps. We get alerts for coins and price levels, which is served in our Slack chat room. Our custom indicators, you saw one, the breadth indicator, which we're always working on. And time with me if you guys need it. We've done a lot of good work in the show, and hope you join. But back to Bitcoin here. In terms of trouble for miners, they should be well capitalized, and they should be able to suffer a downturn. Now, granted, this is a larger downturn, but guess what? So was this downturn, and this downturn, and this downturn, and yes, this one too shall pass. I mean, I think these are pretty exciting times, to be quite honest with you. I mean, in reality, these are exciting times. When are you gonna get to buy Bitcoin? Like last time down here, when did you get to buy Bitcoin there? You got down here, below 10K was really nice over here, and now you're gonna get to buy Bitcoin over here. So just keep adding to that HODL stash. I do believe every crypto person should have a HODL stash, even if you're a trader, because at the end of the day, we're here because of Bitcoin. So I think, and you can argue Ethereum now as well, but yeah, we have lower prices to come. And, once we get under certain levels, let's talk a little bit about dollar cost averaging for a second. It's something I don't discuss often. In fact, I don't believe in dollar cost averaging, at least if you're, if you like to keep up with the markets in a daily or even a weekly context. I don't think you should dollar cost average. I think it's lazy. I think it's foolish. And I think that with a little bit of education and market knowledge, you can greatly outperform dollar cost averaging. Okay? I think you can greatly In fact, I should probably develop a dollar cost averaging framework and sell it as a course, because my way of dollar cost averaging is way better than traditional dollar cost averaging. Is that, essentially you want to buy price levels not every week or 2 weeks. Okay, if you're buying every week or 2 weeks, why would you do that? Especially if you're going to keep up with the markets. Now, if you're trying to invest in a retirement account and you don't like the markets, then okay, I'll give that to you. If you don't like the markets, you should dollar cost average, because you have to be involved. If nothing, 2020 to today has shown that you have to be involved in the markets to participate in any type of upside in your general, personal economy. Other than just stacking cash away, the markets provides a really good vehicle to move higher. And so, dollar cost averaging for the average person is fine. But if you're watching my stream, no one here should be blindly dollar cost averaging. If you saw my stream, unless you found me in 2017 and I'm the only guy you watch, and you don't watch any other crypto stuff, it means you're probably not watching this video, right? So you should be doing it in a more wise fashion. There's wiser ways to do it. What I would do, is I would stash cash in an account, and then you would place limit orders at certain levels on the way down with all of that cash. And I think that's a much wiser way to do it. Much, much wiser way to do it. Yeah, right, Nick? Good job, Nick. No cost strategy. What do you call it? No touch long positions. Gotcha. I did miss a few comments. Let me circle back around here. If 3K hits, I will start looking at solvent miners that are traded publicly and see if they survive the crypto winter to get cheap shares post future. Yeah, you know what, Nick? I don't regret a lot of things in my life. I regret this trade. Check this out. And I did this in the show. Um, I really, everyone's got some regrets. I don't regret a lot. I'm not a regretful person, but man, oh man, oh man, I do regret this trade. So when we were down here, where were we? Oh yeah, this was down here. This was over here before we broke it 12 or 14K. So this is Riot blockchain. This is on the US exchanges. This is an optionable security. We identified an options trade for this to go, I think, up to 45, and it definitely eclipsed it up to 80. But I identified an options trade that paid like 2,000% because I knew we were going on this big ass bull run. And 45 is close to this top. This top was at 46. So 46, 47. I identified a trade there. There was a 20x trade, and I put it on, and then I closed it because a buddy of mine talked me out of it. Now, I can't fully blame him. It was my decision. I'm responsible for my actions, but I let someone else kind of get in my head, and that was a 20x trade, and I regret that trade because I had it. Trades that I have that I closed for stupid reasons, I regret, and that was one of them. So to your point about that, when we get back down here, I mean, so this obviously is not the Bitcoin chart. This was the 2017 top. This was the low, March 2020 low, but obviously it's not the Bitcoin chart. But I agree with you. If you want to take something like Riot blockchain and try to build a longer position, I mean, you can get really great percentage moves out of this. That was a pretty darn good move there. You know what I mean? So I think those are good strategies, and that's why I said earlier I think these are really cool times. Really, really cool times, because when the market's this obvious, the story rinse and repeats itself. So what are you going to do after we go capitulate? What are we going to do? We're not going to go any lower. And then we're going to go sideways, and then we're going to come back up again. That's about it. That's about all she wrote. There's nothing else to do other than that. Okay, so all right, let's talk about not capitulation. Then I'm going to go through the top 20. Because we're with so many people in here, it's obviously harder for me to keep this close to an hour at least. Capitulation target right here, 13 or 10, right here, one of these two. But I'm thinking closer to 10. No, 93 I think is worst case scenario. See, here's the thing, Ivandale, is that targets are garbage, okay? But they are part of analysis. But there's very, very few definitive targets. If you remember in 2017, I gave a range for my target to the downside. Even we were up here above 10K. I think I came up with these targets over here in like the 14K area. After here, right around here, I came up with my targets, and I stuck with them all the way down. I actually lowered them because there wasn't capitulation, which was a mistake. But my targets were between 36 and 2400. And we actually hit that pretty darn good. So you have to have a range. I don't think you can pick a level. I think it's foolish to pick a level, because then you're married to it. And then when you're married to a level, you're either right or you're wrong. And that is not what you are in the markets. Okay? You can be wrong and make a lot of money in the markets. In fact, you are wrong. Everyone here is wrong. I'm even wrong. This guy's wrong. That guy's wrong. Everyone's wrong. Everyone you've ever heard of is wrong. Everybody's wrong. Just don't ever think of yourself as right. You're always wrong. Like, I used to have a sticker on top of my laptop back and they said, "You are always right." Well, because I am. I generally am right. But at the same time, you have to think you're wrong because you have to second guess yourself. And that's why I think I'm right so much, is because I second guess myself so much. Like, I always try to negate anything that I say or do. And which is why I always listen to other people, or at least take it into consideration. And then I can have fun with it and say they're wrong. But that's all in jest. But I always think I'm wrong. Always. So, but that's why I can't give you one level. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. One of my big levels I gave you back in 2017 after the top was 11,500 on this drop. It went down to 10,500. Does that mean I was wrong? Because when I made the video, I think we were up at 16,000 or 15,000 or whatever it was. So, a lesson on right and wrong. Was I wrong? Was I more wrong or was I more right? I mean, right and wrong is it's kind of like your gender. It's very fluid. Your gender is very fluid, and so is being right and wrong in the market. That is, I find that very funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, we were up here about 15, and then I called a move down here to 11.5. There's a video on it. Go search my channel. It's a big thumbnail, 11,500 right on top of it. And that was my 12-22 live video I did right after that. So I must have posted it on December 20th or 21st because this is a daily chart. But, it got down to 10,500. Was I wrong? You could argue I was wrong because I picked 11.5 and it went down to 10. And you'd be correct. You'd be absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I was 100% wrong on the exact level. But everyone said, I remember the comments, and everyone in the thing said, you're blah, 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 and it's not going down to 11,000. And then 2 days later, we go down to 10,000. And that was probably kind of one of the starts of me, making it larger on YouTube, I think, was that video. That's just what I think. But anyway, I don't know. My bigger video was 2018, 2019 when I was talking about top altcoins. That was a really good video. That deserved to get a lot of views. Feel for me on this misplay. Yeah, but I'll tell you what though, Nick. I'll tell you what though. In the stock market, I pretty much only do options for the most part. And when I saw that trade, man, oh my gosh. It was absolutely a phenomenal trade. And the risk wasn't even that much. And then I closed it listening to a buddy and got in my head, and it's my fault. But anyway, I did not at all talk about not capitulation on that one. I'm going to miss a timestamp on that topic, guys. If anyone, yeah, I'm going to miss that timestamp. What do I talk about? What was I talking about? Being right? Okay, I'm just going to make one up. Just going to make one up. Because, yeah, 41. That's about 2 minutes. Sounds about right. Okay. So let's talk about not capitulation. I'd like to get there at some point in time because, again, like I just said, I do think it's invaluable to second guess everything that you do. So let's talk about this not being capitulation. Because there's always that possibility. And if it's not capitulation, it's obviously Mike's fault. Can we all agree on that? Everyone here. Can you agree that if we don't capitulate, it's going to be Mike's fault? I just want to make that clear, before everybody. It's going to be Mike's fault. If this isn't capitulation, what does that look like? Well, if it's not capitulation, you're going to run into a couple of scenarios. Number one, we're going to base in some fashion. That's usually what ends up happening is we would put in a range at some point. So if we're breaking 20K, maybe it's 14K. Let's say we get to 14K, which is pretty close to 13.2. This isn't too far away from that. So that would actually be a hit. I do want to say one more thing. When it comes to measured moves, and this is kind of a measured move in a different way, a 75% range is a hit. So this would, in my book, this would be a hit down to about the 15,000 level. I'm just going to arbitrarily call it 15.5 or so. Okay, I'm just going to arbitrarily call it 15.5. That would still be a hit on this drop in terms of that particular move. So I do want to start out with that. But if we don't actually capitulate and get massive volume and everything that comes along with capitulation, where did I thought I had a blank chart. I think was I using this? Did I not have a blank chart like 1 second ago? Oh, it's this one. Okay. It's this one. I drew the lines. So this is your larger structure. Let's go to the weekly because it's larger. If we don't capitulate, and this arguably would be capitulation. You could argue down here, but if you don't get a capitulative candle, you could go this one. You could just kind of maybe rinse and repeat this scenario. Is it scenario or scenario? I'm not sure which I should say. Scenario. Something like that? 75% of that 50% capitulation should be a good reason to add. Okay. So Farhan's looking to get in early. I'm not mad at that. This channel made you buy Doge at 70 cents? I made you buy Doge at 70 cents? What did I say about Doge at 70 cents? Really? Jeez. Okay. You know, I want to say something real quick because I don't know if John's trolling or if he's actually saying something, but I hope I didn't make you buy Doge at 70 cents. Maybe some quick sell it. Maybe some misinterpreted sarcasm on my Monkeytron. Farhan, was I talking about Doge at 70 cents? It doesn't seem like me. Jeez. Let's go back to non-capitulation, and then I'll talk about this, because we're kind of in non-capitulation space. I want to keep the timestamps legit, so let's go back, and then I'll talk about that. Okay, so if we don't get a true capitulation with a big washout bottom, you can see the video 12-22 on my channel, search that, and you'll find that exact drop right there. But this one right here, buy Doge at the top video. Oh, I got to make one of those. That'd be such a good video to make. Oh my gosh, that would fit right up my... You know what? I did a really sarcastic video once. It did not go over well, Ken. But I need to make it again. I agree with you. That's awesome. You know, I should make a sell the bottom video. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. This is so awesome. I'm writing it down. I'm going to make that video. That's great. Anyway, so if we don't get capitulation, the last bottom we had that really didn't capitulate is this bottom. And it seems strange to say that, but, you know, in one way, I guess it did capitulate, but it's definitely different than any other bottom that we've ever had, which is why this one was a little bit more confusing. And like I said, I adjusted my price target because it looked like we were trying to set up to go lower. This is a more normalized type of a structure than what Bitcoin typically does. So until we broke out at 4,200 over here, you know, it wasn't super clear we were going to go higher. You know, a few days prior to that, we were pretty certain we were bouncing. Again, going into the low volume scenario here that we discussed earlier, pretty much making things really clear. I mean, they were clear once we handled out over in this scenario. So as of right there, we were starting... You know, we were less bearish here, but anyway, I'll get off of that. We could do something like this because, you know, we drop down. If you think of it like this could be our drop down. We're in a thing. We cascade down a little bit lower, but it takes longer. It's not the real capitulation that everyone thinks of as capitulation. This is about a month of a drop. We did go down 50% though. If you remember, the average drop in a capitulation is like 46.7%, whatever the hell it is. Here it is, 47.6%. I inverted those last two numbers. So, you know, I mean, is it possible that we could maybe an alternate form of capitulation where maybe the percentage decreases the same, but it takes on a different price action than the regular capitulation that we're used to? possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, let's get those 30 days in here. Ivan, don't want anything. I'm telling you, don't want you have to get rid of that. You don't want anything. I'm telling you right now. Never want in the markets. It's kind of like wanting a girl too much. You ever liked a girl too much? Legitimately liked her too much, and it never works out very well, does it? It's like in high school, like, I love you, Cindy. Cindy, I'm going to marry you, Cindy. Like, that never works out. Trust me. Cindy did not go to junior prom with me. Okay, she went with my friend Dale, and Dale was a dick. Oh my god, I watched Team America the other day. You guys have seen Team America, right? Oh my god. I'm going to do a lot of cursing right now. I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to do a lot of cursing. If you don't want cursing, you got about 5 seconds to mute me, and I'm going to go into the whole Team America thing. Because if you haven't seen Team America, there's this. You know what? I'm just going to play it. I'm just going to play it. I'm probably going to get this video banned. Oh, I shouldn't play it. I don't want to ban this video. It's a live show. Darn it, that's not nice. Well, they'll probably ban it, but so there's a speech they give. One of the guys, he talks about. He's all, yeah, that's right. He's all, how's it go? I'm not going to do this justice. I'm not going to do this. If you want me to curse on the video, hit the like button. I'm just going to say that. He says something like, he's all, that's right, you're a dick. But guess what? The world's full of pussies, dicks, and assholes. He's like, pussies just think everything's nice and just don't blah, blah, blah. He says, assholes want to shit on everything. He says, and then there's dicks. No one likes dicks. But dicks fuck pussies and assholes. So to get rid of the assholes, it takes a dick. Or something like that. Go watch Team America right now. End the video and go watch Team America. It's freaking hilarious. And half correct. Anyway, so if we're not going to capitulate... All right, let me go re-timestamp this because it's been like 12 minutes since I went on some stupid rant. But they're right. They're correct about that, aren't they? Absolutely correct about that. And that's the funny thing, is they're right about that. So seriously, go... You know what? I'll find the YouTube video and you guys can watch it. They've got to have it on here. Yeah. I want to watch it with you guys, but I think it'll get my video banned. So, copy link. Here you go. Save that for later. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Team America, that is, even after 20 years or whatever it's been, it's still darn good. Anyway, so not capitulation. I'm going to redo that timestamp again. I got to say, when you join the Power Hour, we do a lot of this. We do. We do have some fun in the show. So if you're interested in more Team America clips, join the Power Hour with me, Randy, Real Crypto, and some of these other yahoos over here too. But yeah, so not capitulation may look like this. It may look like a move lower, more measured. We did have the signature of large volumes like we do now. So that's one thing that we do have in common with it. You have high volumes on the way down here. So nothing's really changed. So, even if Mike's wrong, even if Mike's wrong, and it doesn't take 7 days to get down there, it takes 30 days to get down there, it's still a very similar situation. So, I think that would maybe be the not capitulation scenario. Right now, what could we turn around right now? I think we're past that point of just turning around. I don't think that exists right now. So disrespectful not to answer, TASS? What are you talking about? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I'll answer that in a second. Let me. Yeah, I see. And first of all, don't say it's so disrespectful. Just repeat your question. You do realize I'm trying to speak, impart knowledge on people, and try to read comments. You know how many comments I've missed? Pretty much everyone since you commented. So don't call it disrespectful. Just repeat and say, "Hey, missed my question above." Well, yeah, you did. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I missed it. What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. No, I don't want to be a dick. Oh, that's funny. No, I won't forget. I won't forget. I see it now. I didn't see your 15 comments. When the comments are you have to realize when I do this, and I don't know about other YouTubers, but I actually try to give like really valuable information. So I'm constantly thinking through processes and stuff like that. So I can't read comments en masse, but I get your point. You did post it several times. So point taken. Yeah, I'll answer it in a second. Um, but yeah, so I actually don't even know what I was going to say anymore. So I'll go right to your question because I completely forgot what I was saying. But yeah, if we don't capitulate, we could just malaise down lower for a month or so. But the funny thing is, I think that the percentage decrease was about the same, about 48%. So the time scale may be off, but still it may be the same. Okay, so let's talk about Bitcoin and inflation. Let's talk about that for a minute. Looks like a question by Tass there, very patient individual. And so his question was Bitcoin has never seen inflation before, and Bitcoin did not have a blow off top. And I think you just repeated, which is fine. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any additional context. Because sometimes, some of those contexts can be really valuable. So if you guys reframe your questions, I like all the context. Bitcoin never experienced inflation before. No point in comparing previous bull runs. Did not even have a blow off top. Oh yeah, super chat. Didn't even think about that. Um, okay, so I understand what you're saying, and oddly enough, I may have the market may have loosely addressed this. Let me explain. Bitcoin has changed its cycle. Um, oh, I just got a text message spam from. Really? That's not spam? Why is it going to my phone number? Oh, that really looks like spam. That's okay. That's funny. Um, okay, so the market has changed. The market has changed its behavior in terms of the parabolic run. In terms of the parabolic run, this is not a typical parabolic run. I definitely agree with you there. We have been saying that the market cycle changed here, actually, where I have it circled. Okay, this is where the market cycle changed right there. I'm pinpointing it for you. It is different, but I will say the more things change, the more they stay the same. Okay, so while we didn't get a blow off top like we got in 2013 and 2017, we did have two fairly substantial run ups in very short periods of time with a subsequent bear market, which Bitcoin only had one other bear market. And I actually discovered this once I found this index chart. They did have one other bear market. This is very unusual for Bitcoin, but there was one additional bear market with a 50% decline in the middle of a run up. And oh, it's my kid playing the piano. I'm like, what does that sound? It's over here somewhere, but it's early. Maybe it's this one. No, that's not it either. Where is it? We saw it, guys. We saw it, but there's one other downturn. Where the heck is it? It's not this one? Huh. Um okay. I remember seeing it, man. Oh, it's this one. No, that's not it either. Anyway, I thought I saw one additional one. I could have swore. Do you guys remember? Anyone remember? But anyway, um, this is unique. So this is a unique bottom structure for Bitcoin. This is very unique to Bitcoin. This very normal kind of a stock markety bear market of about 50%. We never really quite breached the 50% level. Now we're splitting hairs at like 44 and 50%, but we did have a blow off top here. Okay, which we did cover and call in the show real time. I mean, that was blatantly obvious as a top. Okay, all the way down. So that was a bear market, and we did have another capitulation here. And you're right, we didn't have another blow off top here, but I mean, the amount of percentage increase in both of these were really good. 200% there, 500% there, give or take. And you're right, it's not a leg for leg repeat of every market cycle in Bitcoin's history, but it's never going to be. That's the thing, it's never going to be. So I guess what I want to ask is that what's the crux of your point? Is that Bitcoin's going much lower? Is that kind of what you're saying? Because to hit your point on inflation, I'll be honest with you, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't really matter that much. Inflation doesn't hit the Bitcoin markets. Bitcoin is automatically inflated every 10 minutes. So Bitcoin already has inflation built into it, but I don't think inflation matters that much. Now, Bitcoin is moving with the general market, yes, in a way due to inflation, but it's moving in relation to traditional markets because, in my opinion, crypto is a lot more integrated into the traditional financial system. Obviously some institutions were buying it probably since 2016, 17, but I think they got a lot more involved in crypto, and so it's part of their portfolios now. That's just my opinion on the matter, and it kind of makes sense with what I see in the charts in terms of the change in behavior. So from that perspective, I don't think inflation necessarily matters more than the institutions kind of have their fingers in it. And so it matters in that regard it's a side effect. It's not necessarily the main driver. Inflation is the main driver for the reason gas prices are going up. And the reason, well, actually, those are the reasons we have inflation, but you can conflate the two things. You cannot conflate inflation with Bitcoin's price going down. Because if Bitcoin is a commodity of some sort, then wouldn't price be going up in Bitcoin? So it's more in tune with the general financial system than it is some type of an asset. It's not a generally inflationary asset. Like it has inflation built into it in terms of that regard, but it doesn't really move with interest rates. It's moving with the traditional markets, and those move with interest rates. So it's one layer down from traditional markets, and that's why it's doing what it's doing. Very likely. All right, so let me read some additional comments here. It was disrespectful. 200 moving average. War ends, Jerome cuts rates, and China starts ignoring COVID. We get all-time high. Yeah, good luck with that. There you go, Nick. Ivan, Real Crypto, I am a big believer this will be a generational wealth buying opportunity. This bear market, my plans cost average around 10K, more focused around Ether. I think you're right about that. I think, Bitcoin gets down to these low levels, and Ethereum too. Bitcoin and Ethereum are two extraordinarily high valued cryptocurrencies. And, I'm going to get heat for this, but maybe you can add Cardano. I really like the price action in Cardano. So that's pretty unique here. There'll be a demand crash faster than most folks think. This is my assumption, probably wrong, but dropping inflation, risk on assets will pop short cover, crypto may follow. So I'll just say this. I mean, it's one thing to follow macroeconomics, and I'm as guilty as anybody else. But you know what's funny? If you don't know anything except for how to read charts, guess what? You're good. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's that you're good. Like, let's take a look at the S&P 500. If you know how to read charts, and you follow what the charts say, you're not in the S&P 500 right now, and you don't even know about inflation. You know nothing about inflation. You know absolutely nothing about inflation. You know nothing about the president. You know nothing about gas prices and food prices. All you know is that, maybe you exited right there or up here, and, you're still looking for a bottom. That's all you know. And in the end, that's all that matters. That's the great thing about the charts that a lot of people can't even fathom is real, is that all the information is in the charts. You really don't have to know anything else in reality. That's just I've seen it time and time and time again. It proves itself to me every day, every single day. Price front runs, everything. Stock market was late to the COVID drop. It was early to the COVID bottom. Absolutely early to the. How can you not take financial environment into nonsense? Well, that's your viewpoint. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now. If your job is to make money, okay, let me put it in this perspective. If your job is to make money, I'd like you to shut off the charts, and I'd like you to only look at fundamentals in the news. Okay? Can you do that? Can you shut off any type of information about price levels and then only look at informational data from the Fed or any academic financial thing? Are you only looking at let's take that scenario. So let's ignore the charts. These don't exist. St. Louis Fed. Okay? This is where you get your news from. Here you go. Okay, so this is where you get all your news from. And how do you make investment decisions? How do you do that? So you have this, you have earnings reports, right? You're going to have, let's look at Walmart earnings report. Let's look at a Walmart earnings report. Here you go. Go ahead and make an investment decision. Are you going to buy this? Are you going to buy this company right now? Oh, let's get rid of that price. That doesn't matter. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Revenue's up 2%. Net income's down 25 for Walmart. Diluted EPS is down. Does this make you want to buy? Does this make you want to buy Walmart? I'm not even talking about. Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, Tass. You're talking about inflation, and I understand that. That's what's happening today. 4 years ago, Tass, you still had inflation. It was still less. So my general point is that there's two ways to gather information. Okay? You can look at all of this fundamental data, and a lot of people have the job of looking at all this fundamental data. Okay? A lot of people. That's their job, and that's fine. No, I got no issues with that. But for you and me who have two eyeballs and one brain, it's kind of hard to assimilate the financial reports of, 5,000 public companies and amalgamate them into a financial picture to make investment decisions on. And also take into account interest rates and bond markets. I just look at this chart. Like, that's all I do. Do you know why I look at this chart? Because all of those people that spend thousands of hours a month or even a week, because keep in mind there's millions of people doing this, right? Well, maybe not millions, but all of those people take those reports, send them to the people that make the decisions, that send them to the traders to trade, and they put information on this chart. So all of that multi-billion-dollar process all amalgamates into a buy or sell decision. Can we all agree on that? Can we agree on that? Can you agree that all of the Wall Street insights, all of the Wall Street knowledge, all of the Wall Street machine all live on this chart? Am I right or am I wrong? Somebody say something. It is a question. Am I right or am I wrong? I'm right. I'm going to tell you, I'm right now. So, when you can interpret this information right here, You can interpret what the market wants to do. That's it. And there's nothing more, there's nothing less. What up, JJ? Yeah, BYD. Absolutely. Absolutely, JJ. Yeah. So that's my point. All you other people, and this is most people. Most people don't have. Well, Tass, you're wrong. You are wrong. Your comment makes no sense. I'm telling you right now. Your comment makes no sense. Zero. You can check price by going out on the street. How can you make an investment thesis on the price of cup of noodles, gas? Pick an item. How do you invest and make that? How do you do that? Tell me, other than just saying wrong in caps. And then adding real crypto. Like, how? Give me a strategy based around the price of cup of noodles and 2x4s and an investment thesis. I'd like you to give me that. I'll give you a technical analysis strategy in about 20 minutes. Don't short the ramen. That's dumb, Ian. Come on, man. You don't want to short the ramen companies. That's all we're going to be able to afford. Yeah, he seems a little bit pent up by this. I guess he must have a supercar that gives like 4 miles to the gallon paying for gas. Must be what's happening there. All right, anyway, let's move on from that because there's no blood to be getting out of that rock. All right, we haven't done any of the show today. We've spent the whole time talking to you guys, which is great. But we will move on because this is a live version of the Power Hour. And I do want to say that during the Power Hour, did I close the screen? I probably should just keep it up. I'll probably look at it a few more times. So this is a public version of the Crypto Power Hour. Most of the time we do the top 20 cryptocurrencies. We do a technical analysis on those and also alternative coins and things of that nature. Every day, real-crypto.com services. If you just want to chat, you can click on the community. This is our Slack chat room. If you want to join in there, that's always interesting. Some good people in there for sure. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum next. And Ethereum, like the rest of the market, is lower. Let's get the screen set back up here. We'll do some charting, and then we'll move on with our Saturday. So Ethereum broke its level to the downside, underneath 1,000 right now for the first time in a long time. And actually, if you look at our head and shoulders target, we just hit it. Actually, we hit it a couple of days ago, but so that's we had a head and shoulders on Ethereum. We broke the 1712. If people would listen to sell signals, like I told them to, I'm not talking to anyone in particular, they would have sold up here at about, what did I say, like 1695 or something was my sell signal. Anyway, we're about 50% lower. 19 would be 50%, but we're down substantially from there. And it looks like we are again heading lower in line with Bitcoin and kind of what's going on there. Let me get rid of this price breadth real quick. Yeah, TJ, we'll look at Cardano. We're going to go through this list top down. That's what we do every day during the Power Hour. So inverted head and shoulders, this looks like it's just continuing to move lower. I will say the volume on this drop is a little bit less than some of these other ones, but if volume increases, which if we continue going in this direction, it likely will, then we'll see some pretty good candles. But this is not a low volume drop by any stretch of the imagination. Looks like just going lower, like I mentioned with Bitcoin a long time ago, probably about an hour ago. If you are interested in shorting, some of these situations are still shortable with relatively tight stop losses. Your best stop would be probably up here above that dropping candle, which would be about 10.5 to 11%. I think that would be your best stop. In terms of, yeah, someone asked capitulation for ETH. I never really, we didn't spend any time looking at Ethereum. It's got some pretty low levels. You got down here at 350. That seems like a pretty obvious pivot point for Ethereum. I could be wrong about that. Why don't you go check prices at your local grocery store? Maybe that'll tell you where to set the price level for Ethereum. But somewhere down around here, if things are looking like they're looking, if we get a quicker capitulation, you may not make it down there. It may stop. It may stop well before then. There's some other peaks here at about the 500 level. 1,000 is a big psychological. 50% down would obviously be 500, and that's going to be another psychological level. So you can kind of maybe look down there. But if we just broke 1,700, that was a big support for Ethereum, so that is now gone. And you know what? I would probably, you can use Bitcoin or Ethereum if you're looking for capitulation. There's very specific signatures that go along with that. And from that perspective, it doesn't matter the level. You're just looking for those signatures. That's really all you're looking for. Levels, I don't really care about the level. All right, next up is Hex, which has undercut the 3-cent level. Good knowing you, Hex. Probably have to stop talking about that one in a little bit here. Next up is BNB, and let's get the chart back to normal. NFT store, there you go. BNB looks like it is heading lower volume, a little bit heavy here as well. Not so bad right now, but unable to get off of the floor. And this is breaking its lows. We saw Ethereum cascade under its lows. BNB may start doing the same thing. We identified a trend line here on these levels right there for BNB. We'll see if we get all the way down there in the 80s. Next up is XRP. It's kind of our shotgun style we typically do in the show because we do this every day, so you kind of get to know the charts. XRP right here, undercutting that trend line, high volume, very similar, very small bear flag, will probably continue lower relatively quickly. These are not bullish signatures we're seeing in these markets. Next up is Solana. Solana, not as bearish, actually only down 2.5%. That's some interesting action in Solana. Is playing with the bear flag, but not really in a bad fashion. Not too mad at it. It's nothing you want to buy. You don't want to buy anything down here. That doesn't seem like the wise thing to do. But it's good to note some of the things that have a little bit more relative strength. Lately, Solana has not had a lot of relative strength, so I can't say overall it's anything that tremendous. Why do I have scroll bars? Do you guys see that? Oh, that's that thing. Interesting. How does that show up? Ah, there we go. I click on that chart. That looks better. 85% drop is around 250. Really? You know what? I didn't do that. Let's do that real quick. I should have done that. Actually, that's what we'll do for Ethereum. Yeah, that's true. We kind of do the same for BTC. I wonder if they have the same ETH chart is an index. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Ethereum all-time index. That is what we want. I'm adding that to this chart. Bam. I need that. So, okay, yeah, we'll move this up here too. Yeah. I like it. Get rid of some secondaries. So, let's look at some of the bear markets that Ethereum's had. That's actually a really good point for Han. Feel stupid for not even thinking about that. Sometimes I feel that if I go with all the ideas we get on some of these days, it will end up like a 4-hour show, and I won't get anything done. Hey, what's up, Omar? I'm doing okay, man. How are you doing? I don't really count that, so I won't count that here either. So we're a little bit all over the place. Oh, you are? Okay. You know what? It's not a bad time to do that. I mean, going into these lows, these are kind of the times when it pays to have a little bit of help. And that's really what the power hour gives you. It gives you a little bit of help. Sometimes a lot of help. Sometimes no help at all. But yeah, it's better to have some than none. This is a little bit all over the place. You got, 72%, 67%, 95%. And then Farhan just mentioning that 85%. How are you getting 250? It's like a lot more than that. I'm getting 716 instead of 250. So yeah, either your numbers are wrong or my numbers are wrong, but one of them is wrong. I don't know which. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this, last time we came down 95%. That was 2017. Maybe we'll get that aggressive. Actually, that 350 I was talking about gets us down in those 90 percentage levels. So I would say anything under 400, 500 would be like historically good levels to buy in Ethereum. So yeah, that's not too bad right there. Yeah. Yeah, I should have done this with Ether too. It's hard to do it with a lot of coins, but Ethereum has quite a bit of history, so I think it's a valid one to perform, Bitcoin similar analysis on. We just spend so much darn time on Bitcoin. It's a lot to get over that hump sometimes. It's like maybe a 3-hour show if we're going to go that deep on it. All right, let's continue with the schedule here, the general feeling of the show. So Cardano here, unable to undercut that low. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold up. I kind of doubt it. It's going to go with the market at some point. And it may have a larger break because there may be some pent up supply in Cardano because people are probably thinking, hey, Cardano hasn't dropped. It's not going to drop. And, people are stupid. And then when it does drop, they're going to panic sell. So maybe they have one for Cardano too. Do they have Cardano index? I'm not seeing it. They should have like the top 10. I would like an index chart for Cardano. Premium index? What is that? That's fancy. Holy crap. Oh, is this leverage premium? Oh, that's interesting. That's what they mean by premium. So it doesn't look like they have the same, because I know there's more information. I know if you go to Cardano BTC, I think Bittrex, I was on Bittrex at the time. I think they had the IPO, the ICO. Yeah, see, there's your initial run for Cardano. Now the Bitcoin, the Cardano Bitcoin chart's pretty darn good, to be honest with you here. But it's not the USD chart, that's for sure. So it's hard to really understand exactly where we could go. Last time we dropped also 90%. We could also keep in mind Cardano is not really ready to go for prime time. See, 90% levels is pretty easy. So here's 10 cents on Cardano, all the way down here. Oh, Lit. Did Lit have a big pop? Lit, I may have seen that, Farhan. Lit may have had a big pop. Omar says, quick question. Cardano isn't dropping a lot while Bitcoin is. Do you expect Cardano to reach 30 at some point? Well, I don't know about that specific level. I'm not sure why that level's that important to you, but maybe it's a place where you bought Cardano, but maybe it's where you bought Cardano. But I mean, the market's going to stop when it's going to stop. That's really all there is to it, Omar, is that it's going to continue until it doesn't continue. And so far, the trajectory and the momentum is with the bears at the moment. So that's about all she wrote on that one. Euro USD. All right, we'll take a look at that a little bit later. How do you figure price levels that don't have capitulation data, Nick? You don't. You wing it. You have to use. So think of it this way. It's a good question. That's a really big question. So the question is, how do you calculate capitulation levels for coins that don't have a lot of data? My answer is you don't. You have to use Bitcoin as your bottoming signal. That's it. So let's say you're interested in Dogecoin, or let's say you're interested in AVAX, okay, which doesn't have a lot of price history on it. If Bitcoin starts to capitulate, you look at AVAX when Bitcoin capitulates. That's it. It's pretty easy. You can look now. AVAX does have some history. Obviously, it's a brand new coin, hasn't really been through a full blown bear market yet. But could it get down way down here? I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. But you would use Bitcoin. If Bitcoin capitulates in the next 3 days, then AVAX will capitulate in the next 3 days, and maybe gets down here to the $3 level, and you're buying $3 AVAX. Just as an example, I'm not using that as That's no target by any stretch of the imagination. But if you take a 50% drop, and maybe let's go 60, 70, maybe we get down to $5. I don't know. But these are levels on some of these coins that if you're looking to hold for longer term, you could end up with some really, really amazing returns. All right, I got to keep it moving, guys. I do got a life. I do got a family here. And I'm only like halfway through the top 20. We do have a few altcoins to look at here as well. So I'm going to try to keep it moving a little bit. This is a public power hour, so obviously a lot more questions than I typically get. Happy to answer them, but yeah, that's a good question, though. All right, so next let's take a look. Did I do Doge? I don't know if I did. All right, I'll do Doge. Doge, similar to Cardano, kind of sitting at its flag, but Cardano, Doge did undercut this level over here. I don't think Cardano has. Cardano's held up. So Doge over here. Grace, are you paying attention? I don't think Grace is paying attention. I think Grace is brand new to the stream. Just because I'm talking alts doesn't mean I'm peddling alts. I don't think you've been paying attention. Dogecoin here, bear flag bottom. Yeah, looking like it'll probably continue lower as well. Just another bear flag. One thing Doge had was this really nice symmetrical triangle. Once that broke here, and look at the measured move. That takes you down to 3 cents on Dogecoin. We're at 5 cents. So there's already, I mean, there's quite a bit. It's about a 40% potential profit if you're interested in shorting Doge. Stop right now. This isn't down as most of the other coins. I'd be hard pressed to put a stop here at about 5 to 6. You'd probably want to put it up here at 10 to 11 if you're looking at shorting Doge. At least right now. And I mean, this weekend so far, we've already dropped. So I don't think shorting, whoop, that's my timestamp. I don't think shorting is necessarily the worst thing in the world. Grace? Is Grace instant messaging anybody? Because Grace is not listening. I think Grace is watching me on mute and just spewing garbage. All right, next up is AVAX. And AVAX in a similar situation, just playing with this trend line. Hasn't undercut it yet, but it is looking like it wants to head lower as well. Everything in the market looks like it wants to head lower. Yeah, Grace is not listening. Okay, at least Grace understands Grace isn't listening. Yeah, because I'm not advocating buying alts, you idiot. When did I say buy an altcoin? Oh my god. Sometimes when you go public, you get... You know, I guarantee Grace isn't homeless, but you're shouting like a homeless person standing on the side of the road. You look like you look like a digital homeless person. So, but yeah, so AVAX here, looking like everything else. We'll probably follow the market. Measured move down to, looks like support down at $9, but yeah, we'll see. How low is that? That's not that much lower, 35%. Not that bad. DOT. DOT here did move down a lower. This one broke the trend line yesterday. Had a larger drop down here. Lower volume rise here, and again, just looking like it wants to fall with everything else. Looks like it wants to continue. Everything looks like it wants to continue. I could probably do all these in one sentence. They all look very darn similar. Shiba, very similar. Rinse and repeat on that one. If you're looking at shorting, I mean, again, stops would be up above recent levels. Those are going to be your best stops. Tron is the only thing that is different than everything else, and still not sure that's a good thing. This has been... I've covered a lot of Tron, and I felt kind of guilty doing it. It's just been so choppy, so hard to get anything manageable out of. I mean, it's up 3% while everything else is down 7%. So it's quite frankly uniquely bullish, but definitely hard to have a position in Tron as... Yeah, I know, Monkey Tron. Should I just not... I mean, it's in the top 20. I got to cover it. I just got to stop putting it in the newsletter, I guess. All right, let's move on. Near Protocol. So this one on a horizontal, pretty clear horizontal. This one, Near Protocol, has been a very good performer to the downside and looks like it wants to continue as well. This thing couldn't even hold up this triangle situation before ended up dropping. So yeah, this is going to be a good performer to the downside on the next drop as well. 8% is kind of up there in the leading upper echelons of coins that are down today. Ethereum 9.5, Matic 10.5, then you have Near Protocol at 8. So big performer to the downside here. When that thing breaks, it'll break pretty dramatically. Matic already starting to break a little bit out of its horizontal. Already moved lower. Couldn't even hold itself up. Matic is just extraordinarily weak. Someone told me that Matic has overall network. So in other words, if you run a Matic node, all of the people running Matic nodes, however they get paid, I don't actually know how they all get paid, they split $1,600 a day over the entire network. So I don't know how. It seems really weird that an entity worth billions of dollars only produces $1,600 in revenue a day, which seems really strange to me. But anyway, this thing is a good performer to the downside. Very similar in isometrical triangle to Dogecoin and performing really weakly. So this is our percentage downside leader, and it will also likely continue to be a downside leader. All right, next up is Litecoin. And Litecoin actually has been putting up a decent fight. It's not going to win the fight, but it's been putting up a decent fight. So, hey, Grace. Hey, Grace. Hey, listen to me carefully. Go fuck yourself. Okay? Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Okay? Go into your big drawer of adult toys and take one of them and actually go fuck yourself. Have a nice day. Seriously. Like, what are you even talking about, man? You jump in here for 1 second, just start talking shit. You are. I don't want to ban you, because I'm not that kind of a guy, but I may ban you. Because here's the thing. What's my game? Tell me my game, please, while I continue with my show. Please tell me my game. I would really love for you to tell me my game. I've been doing this for years, my friend. People know who I am at a core level. Tell me my game. Tell it to me. And then I'll let everybody else tell you about me. Anyway, so Litecoin. Yeah, Litecoin still in the bear flag. You know, likely a good volume came in on the sell side on the break. It didn't drop tremendously, but, you know, we're still not really bouncing that far. So that's still about an 11% stop loss. So, yeah. Okay, next up is CRO. Well, I don't want to be the guy that bans people. I'd rather just prove them wrong. I've had a lot of people come in here and talk a lot of garbage and then end up realizing that I'm not a bad guy. Some people think people on YouTube are just bad people. But you got to realize we're just people. You know what I mean? We're just people. That's it. All right, next up is CRO. CRO firmly lower here as well. We've got... here we go. So again, horizontal. This one, I don't know if you can short this one. CRO's on some exchanges, not a lot of major exchanges, but they do... yeah, bear flag. It's going to drop with the rest of it. I agree, JJ. I agree. All right, next up is Uniswap. And Uniswap firmly lower, also broken its bear flag, 8%, kind of keeping up with the rest of the altcoins. Rinse and repeat on Uniswap. This one broke down from its horizontal, and it right here, everything looks like it wants to go lower. So, all right, I'm going to wrap up the top 20 USD an hour and a half into my show. That's unusual. So wrapping up the top 20, everything is breaking down. Everything is breaking down. My video yesterday about Bitcoin capitulation appears to be occurring. Thank you, Mike, again for kind of the general, leading us in that direction. Finally getting us to a capitulation type of a scenario. Yeah, so thank you, Mike, for that. But everything is in a bear flag. Everything is breaking down. If you don't have plans for coins at much lower levels, you need to start making those plans if you haven't. So, it doesn't really matter the coin. They will all get broken at some point. Cardano has been holding up the best, but it has it'll give up as well. I mean, eventually everything will give up. The break on Cardano will likely be very large due to the fact that it has held up. That's usually how price action works, and Ethereum's a good example of that. Once Ethereum broke, look at that, like this is it. Once Ethereum broke 1712, look at the cascade lower, the aggressiveness of it. That's how these markets work, and this is just the first little consolidation for what is already in the middle of a very large downtrend. So if you're looking at buying things in this area, you're not going to be serving yourself very well. You're going to end up getting hurt. Unless you're okay with things moving to much lower levels. I mean, if that's something you want to do, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be waiting until I see some better bottoming action all in all across the market. Because then and only then will it be really, truly safe to put capital at work. That's really about it. I mean, only when the market proves that it has a bottom is it truly safe to put capital at work. Until then, your capital is 100% at risk. So that's about it. All right. What did Grace say? I wasn't really listening to Grace. You shill this shit, get newsletter subs, take people's money, and peddle it as if it's a real investment. Nothing in this space is an investable asset except for Bitcoin. Okay. So I shill the shit, get newsletter subs, and take people's money. I do have a business running a newsletter and this Power Hour service. You are correct about that. If you want to call it shilling, call it shilling. Whatever. It's a business. Okay? Nothing taking and peddle it as if it's a real investment. This is a trading channel, Grace. So what we do in this channel is we actually look for breakdowns. We look for, some high probability scenario. If that's not something you do, that's fine. You don't have to trade, Grace. You can hodl Bitcoin. There's nothing wrong with hodling Bitcoin. Go ahead and hodl Bitcoin. But apparently someone took advantage of you at some point with one of these similar services. And there are services that will take advantage of people. Absolutely. And people should be wary of any service they want to get involved in. But I do these live crypto power hours to show people what they get. This is what you get. If you don't like it, don't join. That's okay. I got no issue with that. But it's just as disingenuous for people to sell shitty services as people to just jump on any live stream and just start talking garbage. So that's about it. But you just don't have it as a position. That's about it. So you're a trader. Well, what about informing your people that any of these exchanges they trade on could be insolvent tomorrow? We talked about that yesterday, actually, right? Maybe the day before. We talked about that because they were talking about Binance was stopping withdrawals. So, but here's the thing. If you're a trader, you kind of have to be on an exchange. So you want to be on the most liquid exchanges. I mean, there's general things about that. We discuss everything. I mean, look, if you could say that about anybody that provides an educational service. You're like, oh, you're just shilling, big CPA. Like if you're a CPA, you could jump on some CPA's firm and go, oh, you just want to shill your CPA newsletter so that people can get informed on CPA stuff, doing CPA stuff. No, the only good CPA is H&R Block. Like, I mean, whatever, pick a profession. But no, I definitely agree. There's a lot of bad services out there. I don't have one of those. I mean, to be quite frank with you, at least I don't think. I've been going for years strong now, and I rarely do these streams. It's not like I'm on here, shilling 24/7. So I guess you're just bored on a Saturday morning. But, my service is for people that want to do kind of what I teach, I guess, and how I approach the markets. And that's it. And that's kind of the beauty to to these types of things. You can find what you want to do and kind of go to that. So that's pretty good. There's no daylight between people like you or BitBoy. I don't know who BitBoy is. So anyway, that's my stance, Grace. If you don't like the channel, leave. Go away. But I understand your stance, and I've talked to people like you before, and that's fine. That's okay. Well, Grace got hurt by somebody once. And, all right, if you're going to start trolling people in chat, I will ban you. So, I've explained myself. You've explained yourself. So if you have comments on what we're discussing, that's fine. But if you're just going to talk garbage, then, you can go away. But I'm happy to have you here. I don't want to throw you out. All right, let's take a look at USD pairs. And let's take a look at Aave. All right, so Aave has been unfortunately we haven't covered a lot on Aave. Aave's been a pretty good performer to the downside today. You can see on my chart of alternative USDs, it's up or down 11.5%. Most of these other ones, FTM down 9%, 6%, 7%, 11 for KNC. That's also been a good performer, even though it's holding up a little bit. But in terms of percentages to the downside, that's one of your main performers. Is Aave. So I thought that was interesting. If you're looking to short something, Aave could be a good vehicle to short. It's already broken down, so it's leading a little bit in that fashion. Your stop's about 9% if you're interested in that. A better stop's 14%, which would mean a smaller position size. But Aave is clearly ready to go down. It's like, yeah, I'm cool with this. That's fine. Just go ahead and dump me. I'm fine with that. Next up is PancakeSwap. Similar situation with PancakeSwap. This was on a list of shorts a while back. Remember back in the day, AXS, Cake, HBAR, ICP, Claim, Mana, HNT, FTM1, Sand, and XTZ. That whole list, right? So, we kind of left off a little bit on this one. And but yeah, definitely lower here. Bitcoin dropping. Are we going down? Oh, Suki now. Let's move on to BTC. Let's come back to here. We're definitely dropping a little bit. Let's go back to real time and see what's going on. Let's take a look at the volume signature. 2-hour volume signature with 17 minutes left is pretty much what we've already been looking at, and we are firmly going lower here. 15-minute volume, about normal. Okay. So looking at some shorter term charts there. Hey, now Grace has some actual valid comments. There you go. Yeah, you're saying 13.8? Yeah, we've got a little bit lower than that, basically. This is our situation right here. 13.2, maybe down to 10.3. That would be an 85% Bitcoin crash right there. That's just what's implied in the charts. So, yep, moving lower a little bit right there. Can't say it is what it is. Well, what did you say? You said I was a fucking lying shill. Am I going to realize that later? I'm going to be sitting taking a crap one day like, oh my God, I'm a lying shill. That's funny. Euro USD. JJ wanted to look at Euro USD charts. Let's go to the daily. I don't think we need to look at intraday for Euro USD. I think I have Euro USD on my stocks, don't I? You still here, JJ? I'm not sure if JJ's. What's the buzzing noise? That's funny. Bring up ETH BTC. I don't have ETH BTC today, but we can look at it. We do look at the Ethereum BTC chart. So the flow of my show, of my power hour, is that we do the top 20 USD pairs, and then we go through, I actually go through about 200, how many pairs is it now? Almost 300 coins a day, and I pull up interesting charts. I pull up the charts that look interesting, look like they may do something, and I'd say half the time we look at the ETH BTC chart. So, all right, so Euro, actually some decent action there in the Euro on the volume side of it. We did recover on the DXY. Oh, nothing, JJ. I was just going to look at your, you asked me to pull up the Euro USD. Looks like it's got kind of a double bottom structure to it. Could pause here for a little bit. And the DXY did go up a little bit higher, but it looks like we're pulling back. The dollar still is in a pretty big uptrend. So Yeah, it's really broke up substantially. Flight to quality globally is probably what it is for whatever reason. And I did put Boyd on here as well. BYD. So JJ mentioned BYD to me the other day. I mean, this thing is holding up just extraordinarily well. So keep in mind, this is a direct competitor to Tesla in China. Boyd makes more electric vehicles, or at least they did at one point. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but they make a ton of electric vehicles in China. They have their own battery division, and they are sitting right at all-time highs. So remember earlier we were talking with the one guy, and he was screaming about, hey, go look at the price on the shelf. Like, that will tell you everything about investing, is go looking at the price of frickin' screws in the Home Depot aisle. And I say there's a lot of information in the charts, and look at BYD holding right up at the highs. No one's interested in selling this name. So JJ bringing that up, that's a very, very, very good look to a chart like that. In a bear market, to hold up near all-time highs, that is called relative strength. And that is a lot of relative strength, actually. So, all right. Next up, I do have some BTC pairs to look at. Let's take a look at some BTC pairs. First one up is Cardano, which oddly enough, Cardano actually has a bullish signature. The BTC charts are really interesting because some of them actually have some bullish signatures. This is not one I'm advocating for anybody to buy, but again, my job is to point out things in the market that look interesting and could be actionable. This is potentially one of them. There are a lot of people that do like Cardano. Cardano is holding up pretty darn good, and I can see Grace already typing a mean tweet to me about looking at Cardano and shilling an altcoin, but that's a bullish chart pattern, and we did get some pretty good volume coming out of it on the overnight session here. I'm not sure how high it's going to go. I mean, if the market takes a big dump, it'll probably take a big dump with it. I would rather wait for for the whole general market to bottom out before I take any bullish positions. So, next up was BNT. And BNT continues being a huge piece of garbage. Just has been collapsing into the floor. We've talked about this now for several days, and it's just been a huge disaster. So this is the next coin to die, apparently. Next up is TWT. Here we go. And TWT is still stuck in this uptrend, hasn't broken the trend line yet. I'm sure it will at some point, in which case it probably would be a pretty darn epic short if you're shorting something versus Bitcoin to get more Bitcoin. You wouldn't take USD, buy Bitcoin, then short TWT Bitcoin. It seems a little bit strange to me to do something like that, but this is definitely an interesting chart, and tons of volume on this as well. Very interesting. So if someone did long it, keep with it. But until it breaks that trend line, I'm sure it'll be pretty much, yeah. Anyway, I'm not really interested in anything because we're falling apart right now. So I point these out, but none of these are really tradable in my opinion. My job to point stuff out. So, all right, Ethereum BTC. What was your point about ETH BTC, Grace? ETH will drop to less than 0.01 Bitcoin per ETH cycle. It's a centralized piece of garbage. Okay, well, and that's obviously the centralized part is what it is. Piece of garbage is an opinion. I need to get rid of. Oh, you know why? I just need to get rid of price breadths here. There we go. Now we get more space. ETH BTC broke down from a pretty big head and shoulders pattern here, and we're getting there. We're not done going to the lows yet, but we're getting there. You're saying 0.1. Let's take a look at that. We have similar views on the whole, Bitcoin level. So take a look here. 0.01. Geesh, that would be aggressive. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I don't know. We had a talk about this a long time ago. Maybe like 2 months ago. I guess you can call that a long time. hard to say exactly, but Ethereum is now a staple in cryptocurrency. Opinions aside, you may think it's centralized, you may think it's a piece of garbage. It is what it is, but it's around. People are using it, and if there is another one, if there's a second Ethereum, it's Bitcoin, or a second Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's the gold standard, bar none. Everybody agrees with that. The people that don't like Bitcoin don't like crypto. Just ignore those people. Those people are dumb, and they're never going to get it. The people that just hate on Ethereum don't fully understand, the rest of it. You know what I mean? If all you want to do is, and I'm not trying to convince you to invest in anything, Grace. That's not what I do. Okay, that's not what I do. But I do believe Ethereum's here to stay. I view Ethereum as Microsoft. Okay, not too many people love Microsoft, and not too many people love Ethereum. Probably more people like Ethereum than Microsoft, but Ethereum's going to be here as a crux in your side until you die, and I die. Okay, that's pretty much what it is. So ETH's going to be here. What it comes down to is hard to tell. In terms of this head and shoulders pattern, it's pretty much already at it. Down here, but I mean, we'll come down to one of these levels. I'm not going to pretend to know where. The measured move here has almost played itself out to the 0.047 level. It's a pretty nice little pivot point too. You have a prior high here as well, which helps out. But there's a bunch of other highs in this level. There's a lot of things in this area. You're going to get into some congestion pretty quick. If we move lower in the next week or two, and we don't slow down, you're going to get to some pretty low levels. Whether it comes down here to 0.01, I'm not sure about that. I mean, look, to your point about we never got above the 2017 high, you know what? You're 100% right on that. We never did get above the 2017 high. And yeah, if that's your investment thesis to stay in Bitcoin, more power to you, man. I got no issues with that. If you bring up a valid thesis, I'll be the first one to point it out. All right, but if you point garbage, I'll also be the first one to point it out. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Missed a few lovely comments from some lovely people in here. It's garbage because the more people use it, the more expensive it is to use for gas or GUI or whatever it's called. Obviously, no other cryptos have that problem. ETH has been in a bear trend since 2017. Changed my mind. Well, I don't have to, nor do I care to. But yeah, I definitely agree that it hasn't breached the all-time high there. If you want to call that a bear market, sure, that's fine. Crypto blue chips, BTC, ETH, maybe Link. No, not Link. Link got way overvalued in my estimation. There's no way Link should have been like where it was. It's just they did a good job of marketing with Link, in my opinion. Why is Bitcoin the standard? I'm only here to save your lives. That makes no sense. What up, Loopy? Kind of random. Not sure if you have an opinion on this, but why do you believe Bill Gates talks so negative about Bitcoin? Why he's clearly smart enough to see its value? Good question. I don't know. You know what? I don't have a strong opinion on that in either direction, but it is perplexing. It is perplexing when... Okay, so I think if you think about some of these people that are really rich, let's just use the word rich. Some of these people that are really rich, first of all, Bill Gates is very good friends with Warren Buffett. So I'm sure he's taken in some input from Warren Buffett. And if you look at Bill Gates and what he's invested in, it's mostly in Berkshire Hathaway, which is funny. He would have made a lot more money holding Microsoft than holding Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know what it looks like now, but Berkshire Hathaway, he has more money invested in Berkshire Hathaway than he has invested in Microsoft. And then apparently I don't know. He's not an investor. He's a business guy. Like he did Microsoft, and that did enough. So all this other stuff, I don't pay attention to Bill Gates. I listen to people in regards to what they're good at, and then I don't listen to them with everything else. Because first of all, everyone's good at something, and then everyone has opinions on everything else. Just because someone's good at something doesn't mean their opinions are valid on these other topics. So, in that regard, I don't know. I think a lot of it is Warren Buffett and his influence on Bill Gates, and he's just old. Like, they're getting old, and I'm 43. I'm getting a little bit old, and I could see crotchety coming out a little bit. I could see being a little bit crotchety. So I think some of these older people are crotchety, and I think that's kind of what it is. So definitely off topic, but it's kind of fun. The Oracle problem has never been solved. ETH just can't be trusted. They rolled back the chain. To me, that's not long term. That was a long time ago. Grace, they are. I just said it, so it must be true. If we're about to capitulate, does that mean I slept through the entire bear market again? Maybe. Possible. I mean, I don't know about slept through it, English. I mean, I guess. Yeah, maybe. I mean, if we only got 50% to go, you know. It's funny during the whole Luna debacle. When you look in the Slack chat room, for those of you that are involved in the Slack chat room, especially in the past like 6 months or something, everybody was like, "Oh, Bitcoin's going to zero." They're joking, obviously. You gotta. The people that are in the Slack chat right now, most of them have been around for a very long period of time, and they really, extraordinarily sarcastic, and everyone kind of understands what everyone's up to for the most part. So everyone's like shorthands, everything is going to zero. And then Luna goes to zero. Something actually went to zero. Like, nothing really goes to zero. You realize that, right? Like, nothing actually dies. It just sits at low levels for 4 years, then rallies 8 billion% like Doge. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but Luna actually went to zero. I think that is hilarious. That it actually went to zero. That's hilarious. I tweeted you a chart, probably wrong, but it's one, but no one is getting anything right anyway. Find it interesting. You tweeted me a chart. Okay. Let's go see what you got. BTC USD weekly, 13.5. Yeah, so that's the prior. Gotcha. Okay. I'm not mad at that, to be honest with you. I'm not like I said, our levels are a little bit lower. It's so that's a very important high. I got zero issues with this. Crazy to me that the fractal ends around the midterm elections. I think that will be a sell event in such a scenario. Crypto and elections, you think that would be a sell event? It doesn't seem really that relevant to me. I'm actually not mad at this. It's funny, after all the garbage we went through, Grace, you actually come up with like a decent price chart. Like a good price chart. And I'm glad I didn't kick you out. See, this is why I hold up with shit like that, is because sometimes you find some good stuff. And I don't want to be the guy that kicks people out of chat rooms. That's not what I want to do. So, glad I didn't. You're a huge asshole? Well, guess what, Grace? I'm a dick. There you go. Now, this isn't too bad. I mean, there's lots of levels down here. But here's the thing. It's not about a specific level. It's not about one line. Okay? It's not about one particular point. Especially when you get down towards those levels, it's about the price action in the moment. In terms of if you're trying to find the bottom, there's only one way to do it that I'm aware of. If someone else knows how to do it, please speak up. But the only way to do it is you have to watch live, and you have to see the capitulation happen. You have to witness it happen. And now here I'm going to shill something, so bear with me. But go to Real Crypto. Maybe 1222 will just do it for you. Here, watch this video. There's timestamps in it. And I catch a capitulation bottom live in this video, and actually buy it in the video. So go check that out if you're interested in that. But that's how you try to time a bottom specifically if that's what you're trying to do. If you are trying to, if you don't care about buying the exact bottom, then don't. And you can try to dollar cost average as it goes lower in terms of price levels, or you can buy it after the fact. But you're going to run into a situation where, you know, you're not going to get the exact level, which is fine. Like, you don't have to get the exact bottom. No one's ever going to fault you. So no one's ever going to fault you for not buying the exact bottom of Bitcoin. That's foolish. Okay, guys, I think I got through everything. So, yeah, good show. Good show today. Thank you very much for the conversation. We talked about a lot of stuff today, so I'm going to wrap it up real quick, and we can hang out for a little bit longer, but not too much longer. I got shit to do, but... All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show today. I got to record. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show today, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a public version of my Real Crypto Power Hour. Every single day I do this show. We talk about the markets. We talk about the markets. We talk about everything. We talk about everything. There's nothing we don't talk about. We do have a lot of fun during the show. And if you're interested, there's the sign up for the Power Hour, real-crypto.com. Go to services. Grace, this is me shilling. Something I don't do enough of, to be quite honest with you, because it is what it is. But to wrap it up, we are definitely in a large sell-off right now. We had the video yesterday, the public video about capitulation happening. So far, it's playing out as a capitulation should start out if we get more exaggerated selling pressure throughout the day. Nothing is safe. If you look at the volume signature today, the prior 2-hour candle, we're pretty elevated on this drop. I mean, this is the story. There's really nothing else to talk about, to be quite frank with you. We're dropping down, and that's pretty much all she wrote. I mean, at some point we'll stop. We don't know when that's going to be. I may jump on live 1 or 2 other times, depending on how bad the situation gets. I do like to be here around these, you know, especially during these big bearish times like this. So keep an eye out. If you see me, jump on the live stream, hit the like button, all that good garbage. But that's it. We're steadily moving lower. Like, it hasn't stopped during the show. Been doing this 2 hours, and all we ended up with was a high volume, tiny follow through candle. And even subsequently in the past 3 minutes, we're even a little bit lower. So there's been very, very little buying pressure in Bitcoin ever since we dropped out of this level, basically right here. That was one of our very, very important levels. It's gone, and we are off to the races to the downside, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So we'll find a bottom at some point. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, but our price targets are much lower. We did cover a lot of topics today. We talked about capitulation, testing 3K, troubles for miners, dollar cost averaging, a failed Riot trade of mine that I really am pissed about. What happens if we don't capitulate? We discussed that as well. We discussed being right in the markets, which you shouldn't anyway. We discussed Bitcoin and inflation. We discussed how everything is in the charts and I'm right and that person was wrong. We discussed calculating levels of lows. We discussed Bill Gates and Bitcoin and buying Bitcoin lower. We covered a lot of ground today, ladies and gentlemen. Good conversations. And that's what the Power Hour is about. It's about having these conversations, and it's about trying to, you know, come up with investment theses and trying to make good sound decisions and bouncing ideas off of each other. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you very much today. Let's see if I missed some comments. And then other than that, I'm out of here. Bye. All right, so I'm recording my ending, so I'm not actually leaving, but I will look at some comments. So let me see here. Tweeted you a chart. I'm wrong. I will only go long BTC on we hit 8K because shorting all the way down making a killing. Okay. Well, I hope you don't... If it doesn't go to 8K, I hope you manage that well, my friend. I remember that cycle. I didn't believe you then. Check your charts to be right, then join the Power Hour. Sent you the idea that had me chart that idea. Okay. Dollar cost every time Bitcoin goes down $500. I'm not mad at that. That's not a bad strategy. Not at all. Good show as usual. Thank you, Farhan. Mm. Sean, I'm going to hold you to that, and I'm not going to watch. Okay. Remember you saying 3K will be the bottom in 2018, and you were right. I bought around 4K. It was one of the best investments. Oh, very nice, Riza. Good job, man. You know what? Thanks, Julian. Let me say this, Riza, to kind of end the day today. I'm a very good analyst. I just am. It's just, I'm very good at what I do. I'm not perfect. No, nobody is. But I didn't buy and hold my own target. You said it. You said it right there. So it's not only about getting the analysis correct. See, here's the thing. My analysis is really good, but I'm not a great actionable trader. You kind of have to have a little bit of both to make big money in the markets as a trader, right? And you have to have like that undeniable belief in yourself. Um, you know, and sometimes the noise gets in the way. And everybody that's been trading for more than 35 minutes understands that. And it can be very difficult. I mean, I've made mistakes this year that I deeply regret. So when we get to levels, if you guys have a plan for levels, maybe it's 10K, maybe it's 13K. For Sean there, it's 8K. Make sure you act on it. Have confidence in yourself. And then you'll do what you want to do. And, at the end of the day, when it comes to my show, when it comes to the things that I talk about and the things that I do, I just want you guys to do what you want to do. And I want you to do it well, and I want you to be effective in doing it. That's all I want. That's really all I want. And I provide my analysis, and you can, make it part of your analysis and amalgamate the two and any other sources that you take in. But at the end of the day, it's about having a plan and acting upon that plan, having some type of a strategy. So right now we're talking about these low levels. When we get down there, whatever you're thinking now at 18K, when we get to 10K, are you going to think the same thing? That's the hard part. Is there's so many emotions involved in this, and that's the hard part. So I didn't even buy my own bottom, to be quite honest with you. I made trades around it, but I should have bought more long term in those days, and I'm not going to make that mistake this time around. I'm not going to make that same mistake this time around. I'm going to do it. I'm going to add it to my HODL position, and that'll be that with Bitcoin, and some Ethereum too. I'm gonna buy some Bitcoin. I'm gonna buy some Ethereum towards the lows, and I'm gonna hold those. I may even buy some Cardano. But nothing else. Probably nothing else. Although I will say this, I do think stuff like Solana and AVAX may try to come back and will have very good percentages. We'll have very, very good percentages. You can be right about the trade, but can you pull the trigger, be right, and sit tight? I can't either. It's very hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. When it's going up, it feels like it's going up forever. When it's going down, it feels like it's going... Yeah, see, Loopy, being able to adjust your mindset in the moment is very difficult and very important to do. It's like it's one of the hardest things to do, is to change that mindset, which is why, English said, hey, did I sleep all the way down? It's because it's hard to change your mindset. It's not that you were asleep. It's that you didn't change your mindset. Yeah. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, we have lots of exit signals up here. So many. I mean, we have a follow-through day system in the power hour, and our market went into correction like the day of the high, or the day after the high, or 2 days. Right here, that red candle was us in a correction. Right there. Pretty much at the high. I have another signal. I have other signals. Signals that we use constantly. That break right there at about 50K, that was another signal that the market cycle was done. Lots of signals, bear flag signals, failed high signals, breakdown signals, additional breakdown signals, 30K breakdown signal. They start to add up, and then you end up with, where we're at today. So it is what it is. Don't time the bottom. We are deep in the value zone. I disagree, my friend. Agree to disagree. Trading is not for the faint-hearted. You need to be fearless and confident in your trading. Takes time to get the right mindset. Absolutely. And buy Dogecoin. Don't say that. Someone's gonna say I sold them Dogecoin at 70 cents. I wish I sold them Dogecoin at 70 cents. All right, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. I will see you guys maybe later if this market continues on its trajectory. Other than that, I hope to see you some guys in the Power Hour. And if not, I'll see you during the next stream. Have a good one.